Start here. The suspended public protector, Busisiwe Mkhwebane, has released over 90 WhatsApp messages and audio recordings, which she says prove there was a plan to extort money from her in return for derailing her impeachment inquiry. Now, she's currently defending herself before a parliamentary inquiry into her fitness to hold office. She's maintained for some time that the chair of that inquiry is biased against her. But in the past few weeks, the matter has escalated, with Mkhwebane claiming her husband was approached by ANC MP Tina Jumat-Peterson in March this year. Today, Mkhwebane saying the WhatsApps and audio will prove the late MP wanted 600,000 rand to be split between herself, the ANC chief whip, Pheme Majodina, and the chair of the impeachment inquiry. In return, they would make sure the impeachment inquiry was not successful. Mkhwebane's husband has also opened a case with the police, and the Hawks are to investigate. Well, Advocate Mkhwebane joins me in studio now. Advocate, thank you so much for coming into studio. You've made good on your promise to release the audio, release all the WhatsApps, and crucially, lay a charge. Talk to me about how the case is going to progress from here.
Good evening, Sally. Good evening to the viewers and listeners. That is up to the police, remember, to investigate. My husband opened a criminal case, and hence I had to rely on the information which has been presented to the police, and some of the information which is with the police, and hence my husband also couldn't do any interviews because he's one of the key witnesses in this particular matter. So I don't know how the police are going to investigate, but here it was just a matter of life and death for me, because I'm facing this impeachment, and I'm being accused of derailing or of having some tricks to delay the inquiry. And I just wanted to prove to the public, especially for them to listen. I mean, even yourselves, you can listen for yourself what has transpired during those engagements. And I think as members of the public, you'll have to come to a conclusion yourself. If it was you, put yourself in my shoes, what would you have done to make sure that you inform the public of what is actually happening behind the scenes?
So let's sort of drill into what the whole purported plan was meant to be from these three. And I'm going to say what I sort of got from the media briefing. You tell me if I'm on the right track. That allegedly Tina Jumat-Peterson approached your husband. You said that she turned up at actually one of the inquiry sittings. She then handed her phone to an official to go to your husband saying, please, or the other way around, get the numbers. And then a conversation started with the WhatsApps, and then eventually there were two meetings. My understanding is that the plan from Tina Jumat-Peterson allegedly was, give us 600,000 rand. We will then make sure that the inquiry is so delayed that they don't get to a result before October, which is anyway when your term ends, thus avoiding any potential impeachment. Have I got it right?
I think you did, because in one of the audios, that's what she's saying, because my husband asked, but how are you going to make sure that this happens? And then she said, no, we will make sure that we delay the whole process. And on the one hand, she's saying you must attack, and you must ask, tell your wife to tell Mpofu to conduct an audit and bring all these things which they are doing. Because she said this process is so riddled with a lot of inconsistencies and unfairness, because some of us, you'd find that I've got 3 meetings. I can't attend all 3 meetings. They don't form a quorum. We just log in. We don't even participate. So that is so unfair, because, I mean, some of us are not there. Now, she was saying, make sure that you fight this process, and so that it doesn't succeed. because anyway, Jantji and Majodina are very much angry.
Yeah. What I don't understand is the sort of the bribery thing, because this process has anyway been so delayed. You know, you've had problems with your legal representation. There have been lots of delays for a variety of reasons. So I don't understand why you'd even go for a bribe like that, because this process has anyway been incredibly drawn out. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Do you understand the reasoning?
The reasoning is, I understand, because in the recording, that's where she was saying, you know what, if she's impeached, this process will kill her.
Yeah.
And she's saying delay the process because she must not be impeached. That was her concern. And even my husband asked, but why do they want to be sanitized if they want to help? Then she was saying, no, actually they are angry and mentioning Pemi being greedy, they would want money and all those. But the main thing was the impeachment decision has already been taken by this committee. They are just complying because that's the instruction which has been given to the chairperson.
Okay. You also said in your press conference that the motivation for Pemi Majodina and Obodile Jantji might have been bitterness that they didn't get cabinet appointments?
It's not me. That's the voice recording. She's saying that
that's
she's
what Tina's
repeated
allegedly
several times, that they are very angry. They didn't get the ministerial positions, and even Pemi being angry that Nokolo Kivitz got the position, and now she's alleged to have faked or forged the master's certificate.
Did the, you know, and from what I can see of the WhatsApps, and I haven't listened to all the audio, but from what I can see of the WhatsApp, there isn't an indication of who beyond, you know, she talks about the chairperson, but is there any specific evidence within these WhatsApps or the audio recordings that link Pemi Majodina or the chair to what Tina Joemat-Pettersson was doing? Have you gone? I mean, you're an advocate. You go through evidence. You listen to things. Is there something there? Because I don't think everyone's had the time to really go through all these details. Is there evidence there, in your view?
Yes, I mean, several times they are meeting at OR Tambo, Ocean Basket, and they swear when during Lekgotla, she's saying, I've got one of them. They are here around Pretoria or Gauteng. And there is then audios where they, she says, I've got them Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You must just bring, the condition is that bring that particular money. You know, Sally, another thing which I've said earlier is that, you know what, it's up to the public and yourselves to just listen for yourself, analyze.
Absolutely.
But as far as I'm concerned, one of the decisions or one of the conclusions which Tina warned us about was that they had a meeting. They agreed that the chairperson has delayed so much with this matter, and mentioning Jantji and Pemi several times.
Does she mention them by name, or does she just
names?
Is this in the audio?
A lot.
Okay.
Several times.
That's obviously what we've not heard, because we were going through the WhatsApps because that's what we've got access to right now. And there's a part where
she's
says,
saying yes.
Yeah, she says, am I meeting you alone? Well, that's what your husband said. And then Tina Joemat-Pettersson says, yes. Your husband says, but I thought one of them would be with you. I think you should ask one of them to be present, or we can meet in Cape Town. Tina Joemat-Pettersson saying, how must I get them if they have conditions? I'm ready for your condition, says your husband. Tina Joemat-Pettersson allegedly saying, I must rather leaveless. So it seems like it was a bit of a cat and mouse game and quite a difficult negotiation. Obviously, you can't really talk so much about that because this is something that your husband is going to have to focus on. I want to move on to something you said quite at the beginning of the press conference. It was quite startling. And I think I've got the correct quote. You said, in a way, all these institutions killed Ms. Joemat-Pettersson. And I think you're referring to the various organs of state. Tell me what you meant by that exactly.
You know, I mentioned the role the judiciary has played in this matter, the request for recusal of the chairperson of the committee, The issue that one of the husband of the complainants, Mr. Mailham, is part of this committee. The Western Cape High Court refusing to deal with the merits of the matter, and they only then focused on technicalities that I will bring the matter to the fore or on review. And recently they then acknowledged that they might have erred, and they gave us the issue of us going on appeal. The Constitutional Court, I mean, the application was lodged 6 months down the line. I mean, if all of these have done their part, if all state institutions, they have investigated the matter, because in the first place I was
So you're saying if they'd
suspended.
done their job, it wouldn't have come to this. But explain to me the link between your alleged your concern that state institutions, the judiciary, for example, didn't do their job, and the death of Tina Joemat-Petersen. How's that linked?
Tina Joemat-Petersen was the member of the committee.
Yeah.
And if she's a member of the committee, if the Western Cape High Court would have made sure that they are objective, they issue the judgment which says Mailham and Richard Janji should recuse themselves, we wouldn't be facing a situation where it's a protracted process, because at the end of the day, the matter would have been resolved.
I get that.
And then we get a new chairperson.
No, I get that.
Proceed.
But how
they
does
wouldn't
that,
have reached.
How does that link to her death exactly? Because that's what you said. You said the state, in a way, all these institutions killed her. How did they kill her? Like, speak to me exactly about that.
That's why I'm saying the events leading towards her approaching my husband. Because at the end of the day,
killed her.
She said it will kill her herself.
How did it kill her?
She said to herself, if this comes to the fore, that she has offered the bribe, it's in the audio.
Yeah.
If you go through my statement, she said so herself.
So she says, and we've got the WhatsApp, she says, I'm very sorry you want to destroy me because of your anger. I think this is the point at which your husband is saying, I've got to bring up your name when I have this briefing. And he says, I won't destroy you. And she says, yes, you will. Now, how did she die? What caused her death?
I don't know.
No, but you have to know.
The family is still investigating. I don't know.
Here's my thing. Okay, listen to me about my reasoning. If she died of a heart attack, for example, how can you claim that the death was caused by the state?
Because already there were questions to her, and she was told a criminal case has been opened against her. And she's the one who approached my husband, and she knew that there is evidence.
Did it kill her? If you don't know how she died,
don't know.
But then how can you say emphatically that government killed her? Because you're suggesting, are you suggesting she killed herself?
The family is investigating.
Exactly, so you don't know. So how can you say, in a way, all these institutions killed her? What if she tripped and fell and knocked her head? You don't know, but you say something like that. How can you say something like that?
Because of the pressure one can be put through. Because she even said it herself that, everything which is happening to me, it will kill me if the impeachment happens. You can die of depression, you can die of heart attack. There might be instances which links up. But at the end of the day, Sally, for me, is that the events leading to her passing on,
so
it
here's
will be investigated.
You saying that you're blaming the state for her death. You're saying they killed her in a way. You don't know how she died. But in this WhatsApp, your husband apparently writes, I won't destroy you. And Tina Joemat-Petersen says, yes, you will. So she's actually accusing your husband of being about to destroy her. So, I mean,
I'm saying,
as we are in the area of supposition,
there's an audio where she is,
where do we label
the audios?
So what
I'm saying this because that's what she says, not the WhatsApp.
So both
are valid. Audio,
she
is saying it herself. That will, if they can find out that offered you a bribe, it will kill me.
Are you suggesting she could have been murdered?
All I can say is that there's information which they said on the audio, and at the end of the day, the delay and the refusal to act with speed in resolving this matter, we wouldn't have found ourselves in this position.
So, I mean, my point is, if you don't know exactly how she died, how can you blame anyone, really?
For me, all these things which have happened, what she even said herself, that's why I'm saying that shouldn't have happened in the first place.
The chair of the inquiry is basically dismissing everything you're saying. He says that I'm just not going to comment on rumours, gossip, etc., etc. You want him gone. You feel that there's enough evidence here for him to be absolutely compromised as head of this commission that's currently looking into your impeachment. What's going to happen now at the commission? Are you going to continue? Are you withdrawing until he withdraws? Where do we go from here?
Remember, currently we are waiting for the legal representation. And indeed, I will appear before them. We're still finalizing that. I mean, they wasted the resources requesting me to appear 3 to 4 times, knowing very well that that issue is not resolved. I will appear before the inquiry as and when they request me to appear. But unfortunately, there's nothing which will happen until such time I have full legal representation of my choice. So that's all I can say. And Sally, I said it several times. Whether you believe Mr. Janji, whether he says he won't recuse himself, whether you also believe that, for me, there are WhatsApps, there are audios out there, and exactly what Ms. Dina Jumat Peterson said, they will forgo the oral evidence, they will focus on your affidavits, they will want to fast-track the matter. And indeed, that happened last week Friday. The issue that Janji is angry and wanted to be a minister, but now he is going to compete for the chairpersonship of the Western Cape ANC. Indeed, that is happening. So whether the chairperson, you believe the chairperson, or whether he continues, I'm not there. For me, I've shown the evidence out there. Those who would want to analyze and critically go through that themselves and see what kind of a country are we dealing with. All arms of the state, it's up to them.
Did you ever find that the chair changed in the way he treated you? Did he go from sort of hostile to perhaps more conciliatory? Because I think part of the so-called plan was that he would hold back off, and that he, for the bribe, would be a little bit more, a bit kinder to you. Did you ever notice a change in behaviour?
Definitely, and that's what I confirmed. One of the people asked there at the media briefing, and I can still confirm that because I had 2 of my sisters there, and they were also commenting that the behaviour of the chairperson has changed after being hostile previously, and he was the nicest during that particular process. But then all of a sudden, after apparently this deal didn't go through, then he changed drastically. And that's when possibly the issues of the conditions not being met and the other one saying, no, it's because you didn't bring the condition.
Tina Jumat Peterson has died. Does that make it difficult to prove this case, do you think? Because what we've got is we've got audio recordings. I'm not sure, are they admissible in court?
They would be admissible in court, and it's a relevant evidence, and it's not a hearsay.
Right, so it can be used.
My husband is alive.
Yeah.
And my husband is the direct witness who will be a witness. And if you've got the best investigators, I'm an investigator myself, hence I managed to uncover the Abraham J story of SMSs and WhatsApp and everything. Those police officers will have to get all the evidence and uncover all the links, and the leads are there. So there's nothing stopping the the case to proceed.
You must have pored over these audio recordings and looked at these WhatsApps, because your husband, he kept it to himself for a while because he just didn't want to expose you to it. And eventually, from what you said, he eventually said, look, I've got to tell you about this. From the conversations with your husband, from what you've seen of these audio and heard, do you believe that it was just these three acting on their own, allegedly, or do you think that this was sanctioned from high up?
In the audios, Ms. Tina Jumat-Peterson, again, may her soul rest in peace, and she said it herself that Mr. Jantshi didn't act on instructions, and he's delaying the process. And she's even saying there's a project manager now appointed to oversee Mr. Jantshi so that he acts on the instruction. And she also says the outcome is already there because the decision is taken to impeach your wife. So then what you can do, I think that was your opening question.
Yeah.
Delay this process until a term comes to an end. And she was even saying, but that cannot happen. You know, your wife can't be going through something like this. And my husband even said, you know, I've asked her to even resign. She's refusing because she wants to tell her side of the story. And I know that this is taking a toll on her health. But at any rate, we'll have to listen to what she wants to do. Because for me, I wanted to tell my story. And I'm glad that the evidence I've presented, the court judgments, I've put the facts before everyone. Those who care to listen, they will listen. Because the judgments, some of them clobbered with personal costs. In the Friede matter that I changed Madonsela's report, she testified herself that there was no Friede report when she left. So, and I am expected to pay personal costs. And the other matter of the so-called rogue unit, where Judge Bakwa said, in my report, I said I never seen the OIGI report. I've given proof. Where in my report? Nowhere. So that has helped me also because I couldn't understand why I was doing the work with my team. The investigation was done with no ulterior motives. There is evidence before me, the issues of the CR17 report. It was purely an investigation where we were following the evidence and we wrote the report based on that. But now the judgments are used to impeach me. Whereas how many judgments the same judges have lost, Kuma appeal courts, even the Constitutional Court, are they being impeached for that? Because I think that democracy has made it possible that even the Concord judgment, that my recommendations are reviewable, is to make sure that I'm not above any other institution, but I'm also subjected to scrutiny, because if the higher court says this should not proceed, should be set aside, then it's fine. We need to learn from that, or we need to change our approach.
And this, in a way, if this is proved conclusively that there was a bribery attempt, this would in many ways vindicate you and everything that you've been saying. Just to be absolutely clear, you say that in the audio recordings that Tina Jumat-Peterson mentions Pemi Majudina and Jantshi by name. Is that correct?
Definitely.
By name.
Times.
So not in the WhatsApps, but absolutely here. To be clear, your husband never met those two, though?
No.
There was no meeting. Why did it all fall apart, the negotiations?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm here because, and I mentioned all of this, because once I discovered that this has transpired, I then said to him, open a criminal case.
Yeah.
And hence I also wrote to the speaker, I said I wanted to bring this to her attention, The members of your committee are doing this. Unfortunately, we couldn't meet. She just said lodge a complaint with the ethics committee.
All right. When is the inquiry due to sit again?
I don't know.
Will you be there?
I will be there, definitely.
Even with Janchi still in charge?
Well, I've been there. Remember, I requested him to recuse himself. He refused.
Twice now.
Even with Milham, I don't have any confidence in them. But then, and even last year, July, already I said I'm appearing before them under protest because I'm subjected to that particular inquiry, and let them do everything which they would want to do. Hence, I was shocked when the Western Cape High Court was saying, no, stay with that abuse until such time they draft a report. So I will appear.
Oh, well, let's see what the Hawks make of this. Let's hope they conclude that investigation quickly and we really get some answers. Thank you so much for coming into studio and chatting to our suspended public protector, Busisiwe Mkhwebane. And, of course, she has released the audio tapes today, and she said on those tapes it is very clearly indicated, allegedly by Tina Jumat-Peterson, that the ANC Chief Whip in Parliament and the chair of the impeachment inquiry were named as part of this extortion plan.